conversation with Abhiraj Minawala, director of hard-hitting Mardaani 3. Thank you, Abhiraj, for talking to us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me, how difficult, how challenging it is to enter an established universe, that too by stalwarts like Pradeep Sarkar, and of course the second one was by Gopi Putran. So how challenging it is.
I mean, honestly, when one learns about the fact that you have to enter into a franchise, and that too something that Pradeep Da has so beautifully set up with the first Mardani, the
Right.
world that he created. I mean, the toughest thing to be done in a franchise was done by him. The first film itself,
Yeah.
he created a world for us. He created Shivani Shivaji Roy for us, and gave us an experience. And kudos to Gopi, who's only taken it a notch higher with the second one. Of course, he wrote the first one as well. So, you when you do enter in, you realize that there is a very good opportunity one has, but at the same time, there's also great responsibility because you have to, of course, keep up to the respect, the love that they have got us through the film, and carrying that forward and legacy forward. Of course, there is a certain amount of pressure, but yeah, great responsibility, and but one does enjoy that.
But tell me, you wanted to reinforce the franchisee or you wanted to reinvent it?
So, I'll be very honest, there was no clear thought of such like I want to reinforce or reinvent. For me, when I read the script for the first time, it really connected with me at an emotional level. Uh, because my first reaction to the script was when I started reading it, I thought I'm going to be reading it as a filmmaker, potentially wanting to make this film. But by the time I finished reading the script, my reaction was emotional, that of a father. I am a father to a daughter and to a young boy. And the script gave me and made me realize and made me aware of the certain fears a parent would experience and want. So the want to make this film was a part, besides being a filmmaker, was also as a parent wanting to project the fears that I faced when I read the script out there to the audience.
So when shooting it, of course, it is a very hard hitting and intense film. Each member of the audience takes away, a different moment. But was there any particular scene which you talking of fears, which gave you goosebumps while directing it?
Uh, there were two, if I can say.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, the first one, which was, something that we, especially as a director, was, in my mind, how am I going to project it so well is Amma's entry introduction sequence. The first time you're seeing this character of Amma, come into yeah, in that white Mercedes, into the slums, get off the car, fear all around, and, walk with a bag which has a dead baby inside. One only imagines it, one can plan it, one can do all the technical preparations possible. But when I saw that shot and when I saw the first setup of, Malika walking with that bag in hand, that gave me the chills and goosebumps. You know it. You are meant, you've read it.
You
But
set
when
it
you
up.
see it,
Yeah.
yeah, that actually, it just puts it out there. And the second moment when I had goosebumps while making the film, which I did not imagine, was the scene where it's the confrontation interval scene when Rani ma'am is talking to Amma on the phone. Uh, I had shot, I already shot Malika earlier, and then I was shooting ma'am. They were obviously on the phone call, so they were in two different places. So with ma'am, I had in mind that, I may want to take an additional shot. This is how I want to shoot it. I went prep because when you're shooting such important sequences, as a filmmaker, you're prepping multiple things and thinking, how am I going to do it? Maybe I'll shoot from here. Maybe I'll do a small track. And I said, okay, let me set up the first shot. And that first shot, and that we shot it only once, and that one take, it gave goosebumps to almost all of us. And I was like, I don't think I need to shoot anything more to this. And that's when I saw the true power of a performer like Rani Mukherjee, where if you go back and actually watch it again now, it's one take. She's done it once. And there are multiple times and multiple moments when tears are just rolling out at will for her. I don't know how she did it, but yeah, that gave me goosebumps.
But how do you direct a performer, powerhouse performer like Rani Mukherjee?
Honestly, she's a powerhouse performer. 30 years of experience. She knows her craft inside out. The only thing I can do is I know now how do I, harness this talent and this energy in the right way for the mood of the film and for the mood of that scene. So for me, what I've learned from directors that I've worked under earlier, it is you don't have to act out a scene for an actor. I mean, they know it. It's about just striking the right balance, just giving them the right mood, the right reference. So it's more of that. And honestly, Shivani Shivaji Roy, she is Rani Mukherjee is Shivani Shivaji Roy, and she's lived that character in part
Exactly.
one and part two before I even came on. So, it's just that we had sat down before the film began on how is Shivani going to be different this time around. We worked on as a real life character, as an officer. She has grown from one to two and now at a higher position. So, in real life, that actor, that character, that police officer would also have more and more experience as she's growing further. More realization of the real life threats outside. And definitely a lot more maturity comes with a lot more experience. So we wanted to bring those elements and at the same time, add in a little more touch of making her a little more adding more emotions in this story.
Mm. But what were you more intimidated by? The fact that she has done this before, the fact that she has done this in Mardaani 1 and 2, or that she is the boss, Aditya Chopra's wife?
No, no, no. I mean, honestly, I'll be very honest, the intimidating factor was not really there. Um, One, like you mentioned earlier, yes, there was the feeling of responsibility that you have to carry forward an important legacy. The fact that she has done this before is only going to help you more because she's already lived that character. We have to only work on enhancing and making it grow further. You can't turn that character around, and you don't want to because that's what is really worked in the favor of this franchise. And to be honest, to the second part of your question, I mean, she is a thorough professional on set. You know, uh, for me, she was the lead actor of the film, and like any other film, like any other actor, that's the kind of respect that one would, be due and one has to be given. And at the same time, that's the kind of collaboration you also expect from an actor like that. And her level of collaboration, experience, her leadership qualities, her motivating factor. I mean, honestly, seeing someone after 30 years love her job so much, uh, it's not even a job, it's a craft. It's a lot more than that. It's art, you know. Um, that in itself was so motivating for so many of us on set. And I was working with a rather much younger team, and it was a great learning experience for all of us.
But talking of the subject of the film, human trafficking, it's a very relevant one. But we also saw it very recently in Delhi Crime Season 3. When you saw that, I don't know whether you've seen that, and if you saw it, were you a little perturbed that the subject is almost the same? Or you think your treatment and your storyline is very different?
So, honestly, I think they're two very different stories. Uh, Apart from the fact that there is trafficking involved. Apart from that, I did watch the show and I really enjoyed it, and I think there were some great performances in the show. They, I think, dealt a lot more with sex trafficking and I
Yeah.
think trafficking of women outside of India, and
Also.
yeah, and it was a lot to do with selling wives. I mean, I'm not sure how to
Hmm.
really articulate that correctly, but it was
Yeah,
more
yeah.
in that space.
Right.
And we obviously dealt with trafficking that was leading actually to medical trials and
Hmm.
premature human experiments. So from that front, I was very confident. That's obviously it's very different. Uh, and I feel that this particular genre has a very, very good, intelligent audience that can actually tell the difference between the two. And that's very clear and evident because I think they've got a lot of love, and so have we. And that's only possible when the audience knows the difference between what is presented to them.
But are you happy with the response to Mardani 3? I mean, they're confusing box office results. You know, somebody is calling it a hit already, and others are saying that it hasn't done all that well on the box office. What is your understanding? Can you enlighten us on that front?
So honestly, first and foremost for me, what I did not expect was the amount of messages that were coming through. And this is from real audiences, like people actually not only made time to go and watch the film in theaters, but also took that extra effort of figuring a way out of how to get a message to me directly. And their audiences, I mean, their reactions were very touching. They started off with, really complimenting the film and the great experience that they had. And some experiences really were touching because there were people who were, putting on messages like thanking me for making a film like this. Uh, that for me is the true victory because you're actually, at the end of the day, it's about the audience. The audience is the king. If you're being able to emotionally connect with them and entertain them, that is the foremost thing. And in terms of numbers, I mean, I think it's the numbers are doing well. They're growing. The movie's running well. We still are getting messages and love coming in. So, in terms of the status of the film, whether it's a hit, where is it, what is it? I think that's a whole box office thing. It's a trade thing. I have got my response from the audience that I have received a lot of love from them. Uh, my crew, my team is very happy with the film, and most importantly, my producer is very happy with the film. A person who has, invested so much time in, making sure that the right story, the right film is put out there. He's got someone like me coming on board, trusting me with this entire process. Not just investing the money going in, but his time and his creative energy as well. And when I see a person after that being happy, and that is, I think, for me, the biggest compliment.
So the audience love it kind of counters the mixed reviews that the film has got. I mean, the critical appreciation is not unanimous, right?
I mean, for me, I'll be very honest with you. I think when you're obviously making a film, a theatrical film, you're appealing to a very, very large audience. There are going to be people who are going to love the film. There are going to be people who are going to have their own take on it, be critical about it. But I think what's very important is not to take a critical review in a negative sense, because today it's important to kind of take that in, think about it, because no one's going to write something for the heck of it. They obviously like something or not like something. It's important to now moving forward. How do you use that criticism or use that point in making your next venture better? When you can actually work on those issues, that's more important. So I think any kind of criticism, positive, negative, is important because that is going to help you grow further.
But personally, why do you think sequels, prequels are important? Why should be there? What is the whole logic behind franchises?
I mean, honestly, for me, it's not about prequel, sequel, prequel. It's more about the franchising. Now, people have, if I would say specifically more to Mardani, there's a lot of love that a franchise like Mardani has received. Uh, there's a lot of a larger audience that wants to watch Shivani Shivaji Roy. Today, now, when you have connected with the audience, with the kind of film that you're making, with the storyline that you have, and especially with the character, and if they continue to do so, one enabled us to make two. two has empowered us to make three, uh, then I don't think there's any harm in doing that. And I feel that if you're following a system where franchises are made and films are working, as long as they're complementing the previous one and are empowering a producer to take it forward, they should definitely be made. There is no harm against that. At the same time, of course, fresher subjects in terms of standalone films are also important. So I think it's a worldwide phenomenon. I mean, you have that everywhere.
Is Mardani 4 in the offing, and would you care to direct it?
So, like between Mardaani 2 and 3, Mardaani 2 was released in 2019 and our 3 is out in 2026. There's been a long gap. There's a reason behind it is that uh, it's very important to wait for the right kind of a story and a script to come through. Uh, One that is going to have that kind of an impact that one imagines and one likes. So once that is in, I'm sure that the company would definitely want to make the fourth one, provided that you have the right story to tell. And as far as I'm concerned, I would love to make it. Like I've had the best experience working with Rani ma'am, and for me, it's just been great. And Madani 3 has been so fantastic for me that I would definitely jump in to make that anytime.
So what you're saying is that the logic for making, for having another outing is almost the same as a new film, a good story, basically.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you're not trying to, make a story about a day in the life of Shivani Shivaji Roy. You're not doing that. When you have a relevant story, that's when you're actually setting out to make it. That I think is very, very important. And like a thing with Mardani also is what you, of course, you're seeing on screen is giving birth to new talent, uh, you know. But what you do
Yeah.
not see is that Mardani 1 and 2 and with 3, there's birth to a lot of new talent, which also happens off screen. Newer technicians coming in, the people getting a chance, people growing more in that. So I think it's very important. And that somewhere I think is a lot of credit goes to the late Pradeep Da, who had given new talent a break at that point. And I don't know what it is. It's not a conscious thing that one does, but it happened with 2 as well. And with 3, that somehow or the other,
Yeah.
on screen and off screen, new talent is given chance.
Yeah, now of course you're talking of behind the scenes, but Tahir Raj Bhasin and Vishal Jatwa are both big stars today.
Yeah.
Very true. And Malika Prasad hopefully would be, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, it's what Tahir and what Vishal have done for 1 and 2. Again, they've contributed like to such an extent where they've empowered the makers to move ahead and make more films, and hopefully the same happens here as well. And both of them are doing really, really well, and I'm sure that I like to believe that Malika's work is really well received and loved a lot. So definitely looking forward to seeing more work that she does outside now as well.
But living in times where you're saying audience is the king, where content is the king, where actors are the real superstars, especially on the OTT platform.
Hmm.
So what do stars and superstars, you are associated with YRF, who's like basically blockbusters who give us tentpole films. So what do stars or superstars bring to the table? Apart from the fact that Rani Mukherjee is a great actor, she's also a star.
Mhm. I mean, see, you obviously have them bringing their experience, which comes into play, and you know there's a very large audience fan base that is coming in. Now one has to be very conscious and mindful of the fact that you're not just in it for bringing that large audience coming in, but you have to understand that you need to also create and craft something nice which you can contribute to that audience. They've become fans. I mean, for these stars, they have not become stars overnight. They have a legacy that is spanning over 30 years, 35 years, some 40 years. They have that fan base growing. Now, the reason it's obviously grown also is because various filmmakers throughout have been able to, service those fans in terms of giving them that creative satisfaction that their actors, their stars who they follow have performed well, which also empowers these stars to not just service those fans, but grow a bigger fan base. So I think it's important. It kind of goes hand in hand, where when you are getting that fan base coming in from a superstar, you're also servicing and helping that grow. Again, they're a way of reaching to a larger audience.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that it's not just plain and simple fan service, but also reinforcing their faith in those stars.
Absolutely. I mean, today you continue watching. I mean, if you're watching actors, you are following them, you're loving their work. Today, for example, if I've been a fan of an actor for the last 10 years, now I'm going to see their work. I'm going to obviously convey that to people who are not fans, to convince them to watch the film. And, it's just through word of mouth that it's going to pick up more and more.
And as a maker, do you draw a line between mainstream cinema and what can one say, parallel cinema, indie cinema, or whatever?
So honestly, man, for me, I'll be very honest with you. I have never understood the difference between mainstream, art house, parallel cinema. For me, today there is a story. There is a very good literature that's written, and you have to convey that story as a director. Use the visual medium to put it out there. Uh, Now it is about the audiences where what is the larger group of audience that is attracted to that story? Is that story addressing a larger audience or a limited audience? I feel it's that. It's not about it's parallel or indie or what it is. So I feel what's important is that I think every story, every film has its own audience. It's only a matter of fact of how much is that audience growing or diminishing over the years.
So, as a maker, what do you think is the purpose of cinema?
For me, I think the most important thing is entertainment. I mean, today, honestly, one is not here to, put your views forward, or you're not here to educate anyone. As a maker, for me, I want to entertain my audience. Like I grew up watching films for entertainment. It hooked me on. I want to do the same thing. I want to make films for that. If today I want to, if I'm interested in making a love story, I want to entertain my audience through that romance. If I'm interested in a sports drama, I want to entertain my audience through that sports and the drama and that emotional story that goes along with that. I feel the first and foremost reason that one needs to make a film, at least from my perspective, is to entertain a larger audience of the society. And then, of course, the kind of story you tell, one has to be mindful of what are we putting out there, and there should be no negativity around it. That's really important.
But is that a lesson you learned from Yash Raj, whom you were there, whom you assisted for Jab Tak Hai Jaan?
Uh, what I learned from him is that experience is like it's impossible to articulate it in few words, but for me, by that point of working on Jab Tak Hai Jaan, I had worked for like 4 or 5 years. But that year, I would still feel that for me, it was a sabbatical year where I was just back to being the audience and a fanboy on set, just experiencing how Yashji was, directing the actors, how the actors were on set, how the film was being made. Uh, I did not learn and realize it at that point of time, but it stayed in my subconscious. Is the way he would direct his actors. Is he never would over direct them. He never would tell them act like this or say the line like this. For him, what was really important was कि this is the mood, this is the space, this is where we are meant to be, and he gave them the liberty as as soon as he made them understand and aware of the mood that we need to be in and one has to be in, well, they're really talented actors and they all performed. And I realized that now, subconsciously, that it's so important to give the actors their freedom. Just it's just about nudging them in the right direction, and then of course, then it's them doing the job, and you have to just overall take care of making sure that it's within the realm of what you're visualizing as a whole.
And final question: where else can we see your direction in near future?
Well, uh, my loyalties are with this company. Like for me, this is like my film school. I've,
YRF, you mean? Yeah.
with YRF, yes, of course. So We are looking at working on and thinking of new ideas of what to next. Nothing really out there yet, but yes, hopefully very soon we can work on something that we're happy with, and hopefully some announcement will come soon.
And as a full-fledged director, or you derive equal creative satisfaction from being an AD also?
So for me, the role that I played in the last three films was of being an associate handling action. I really enjoy that as well. So in that space, it's a very niche role which does not exist in India actually, which Adisa thought of. It exists in the West where you have these creative action designers. So it was that role where in Tiger, in War, I got a chance to even do a small contribute a bit in Jawan as well, where you help execute larger action sequences.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's something if the producer requires and if Adi sir thinks that if that's fit for me and I need to kind of if I can service that, I enjoy that as well because that's a very separately empowering process. It's more technical, so it's a little tough to articulate again of
But
why
that
that's
prompts me to ask another question. Between action and emotion, what would you choose?
emotion first. Honestly, it's very important. Action is only going to work if the emotion works. You can do what you want, do design the sequence you want to design, get the best of performers, spend millions and millions of rupees, and whatever you do, if that emotion is missing, it's not going to work. So
And one
emotion
one
always
emotion
precedes.
that would define Shivani, Shivaji Roy, and Mardaani 3 both.
One emotion I would, wow, that's a tough one. Not thought that through, but I would say what defines Shivani Shivaji Roy is compassion.
Not anger.
Because,
Not anger.
huh?
Not anger, but compassion.
Not anger. I mean, if you actually, the attempt with Mardani 3 was the controlled aggression. It was through compassion that that controlled aggression came out.
Right.
And yeah, Mardani is actually, for me, I think, a voice for trying to put get as much justice out there and give the audience that satisfaction feeling that with evil, good does come through.
Poetic justice, right? Yes. Thank you so much for your time, Abhiraj, and a
Thank
pleasure
you so
talking to
much.
you and wishing
Same
you all
here.
the best for your future and many more interviews, right? Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you so much.
much.